I've seen deals where people do where they assignment of rent. So, for example, if you default and don't pay the investor while they're trying to foreclose on you, they have the assignment of rents file, which they can get a court order to take over rent.
You're listening to Flip Empire, the show committed to helping real estate entrepreneurs who want to build their empire without sacrificing their life. Your success and freedom starts now with your host, Alex Pardo.
And, one of the things I've learned about capital is that the elephant in the room is that when you're working with a new private lender, somebody that you're going to take capital from, they're more interested, oftentimes, my experience, to make sure that they're going to get a return on their money versus a return of their money instead of a return on their money, right? So you got to address things like, hey, what happens if things go south? I'd love to hear you talk about the presentation piece and what the conversation looks like when you're raising capital from somebody that you have an existing relationship with, or maybe someone you don't, but you've never really worked with, right? Maybe somebody that's been on your email list and you've communicated, maybe you've had lunch, but you've actually never taken a dollar from them. What does a presentation look like? How do you put them at ease? And talk about that, because I think that's something that, people listening to this that don't have a desire to, start a fund, but do understand and see the importance of raising private capital. I'd love to hear you talk about how that conversation goes with a potential private lender.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's even if you're doing a real estate deal, right? So a fund for me was just a way for me to raise capital in one vehicle where I can execute when I want. The challenges I was having when I was doing a one-off private investor was, one guy would say, hey, I have 100,000. One guy would say I have 50,000. And back then, if I was purchasing a property, I would have to put two people together. And then one guy during the closing would go, well, I changed my mind. So, now you got to scramble and look for other investors. So for me to create a fund, it was easier to raise money, pool all the investments together, and pretty much execute on whatever my strategy or plan was. Right. But if you're doing a one-off deal, the communication with the investor is really similar, because they want to know, when am I getting paid? When do I get my return on my principal that I'm investing back? And how am I secured, right? So basically the discussion is whether you're doing monthly payments, quarterly payments, or you're doing one payment at the end, whatever, if you're deferring interest, whatever way you structure your note, you want to review that with them. And the mortgage or deed of trust, if you're in a deed of trust state, is how you're securing them, right? So if you get hit by Amazon bust, now they can come in and take over the project and move forward from there. Mm-hmm. Most of the investors don't want to do that. So what they're going to make sure is that the amount of capital they have in is lower than the value of the property. Most of them will go maybe 50% loan to value, 65% loan to value, whatever their comfort zone is, right? That means the amount of capital that they're going to lend you and to the value of the property. So if something happened to you, they can just put it on the market, sell it right away, and at least get their capital back, maybe make some profit. Uh-huh. So you're showing them how they secure it. You're showing them if you need renovation money, whether you're putting up the money or they're putting up the money, how many construction drawers you're going to have, and you're going to outline exactly in detail what you're going to do in those drawers during those period. And then you're going to let them know, in today's age, I can send you videos on it to show you each phase, so we have transparency and communication. So you talk to them about when are they going to get paid, when they're going to get their return of capital back. That's based on a return of the note, the term of the note, mm-hmm. how they're secured, and you're giving transparency on where the money is going and the renovation of the property and the timeline. That's really the conversation. As far as documents, there's a variety of different documents that can protect the investor. Of course, there's a note mortgage, which is number one. Uh-huh. You can do. I've seen deals where people do where they assignment of rent. So, for example, if you default and don't pay the investor while they're trying to foreclose on you, they have the assignment of rents file, which they can get a court order to take over rent. If you have tenants there, because you have some, people who borrow money on properties that have rental income, and then they default, and then they want to keep collecting the rent and don't pay the investor. So that gives the investor right to put a court order and get the assignment of rents over to them while they're foreclosed, and they can collect the rent.